The Real Monica Adams Show is brought to you by Kaufman Outdoors and The Porch in Wildwood.
Well, it's midweek. Happy Hump Day. Happy Wellness Wednesday. Good morning to you. Welcome into the Real Monica Adams Show. If you know someone that is 50, 60, and up, we're going to address you today. However, all of you that are younger, maybe you can hear this message and take care of those that are 50, 60, and up. We need to think about this at an earlier age. Wellness, so many levels. We're going to talk with a personal trainer and stretch therapist from Exist Stretch, Claire Flanagan. We're going to be introducing to you Claire. Many times you get a chance to listen to Trisha, who has been with us for several months now from Exist Stretch. But today we're going to really hit it home, the importance of taking care of yourself and starting earlier so that you don't try to play catch up in your later years. We're going to do a little news you can use and then get into this Wellness Wednesday. Good morning to all of you. One fell swoop. Feel free to talk to your community while we're on the show. If you have to rush off, be sure to come back and then also do us a favor and share this with your family and friends. Again, waking up to positivity. Interesting. I thought I was going to tell you that today was the last day of the crazy hot weather. That is not the case. In fact, it's now been extended all the way into Sunday. So let's break it down for you. We have dangerous days ahead, unfortunately. Here is how you should approach this. Take care of yourself first and foremost, right? Make sure you're hydrating. It is 7 o'clock in the morning and it's already in the 80s. For some of you, you get up really early and do your exercising, and that is very smart. Temperatures are going to continue to remain in the triple digits each afternoon, lasting through Sunday afternoon. Saturday afternoon sees the peak with heat index values downtown up to 106, in some areas to the southeast up to 108. By the way, scattered showers and storms are possible beginning just after 1 o'clock this afternoon. Much of the region from downtown St. Louis to the east remains in a threat level of a 2 out of a 5. Areas west sit in a threat level of 1 out of 5. We're talking about strong winds and large hail remaining the primary threats. A secondary lesser risk of a brief tornado remains possible as well. The severe risk will phase out towards the evening overnight hours after 9 p.m. We're also going to see some isolated showers and storms that remain possible during the afternoon hours on Thursday with a minor severe risk. We're talking about like a 1 out of a 5. You go into that Friday through weekend time period, and there's a brief set of morning isolated storms remaining possible as we make our weekend plans on Friday. Much of the region, though, remaining dry. Next week, we then expect the intense heat to finally break down on Monday. Highs in the 80s may not last long, though, with the return to the 90s by the time we get into midweek. So again, as you see from the forecast standpoint, as well as the breakdown of the severe levels, we want to thank our friends over at KMOV for the breakdown of what you're seeing here. A level 1, more so for those in Sullivan, Farmington, Rolla. We get into that St. Louis area, into southern Illinois. We're talking Edwardsville, Vandalia, Centralia, Troy, Carlinville, all in a level 2. Again, the time frame of that is from 1 until 8 in the evening. So the heat index and the storm possibilities are all weather watchers today. So please be careful. That is our top story, is the weather. Again, take care of yourself, take care of the elderly, and take care of your kiddos and those four-legged pets. We also stay with the weather in a way from a phenomenon we talked about just a couple of days ago. Today is the day to be bringing the 3 cosmic spectacles into a total solar eclipse. And it just depends on where you are, where you're watching from in America. If you're lucky enough to live in the right place, you could potentially witness 3 significant cosmic spectacles: a parade of planets, a total solar eclipse, and the best meteor shower of the year. According to the Planetary Society, if the weather's good and the sky dark enough, you should be able to see bright Mercury, very bright Jupiter, reddish Mars, and yellowish Saturn without any assistance. And again, it just depends where. The star of the day, pun intended here, is the total solar eclipse that'll be visible in Greenland, Iceland, northern Russia, the Atlantic Ocean, Spain, and a small corner of Portugal. So maybe you've got some friends or family that are in those areas, or maybe you're traveling. So when to watch? The moon will be completely covering the sun between 1 and and just over 2 minutes, depending on location. Iceland, it begins totality at 12:45 our time. Spain, the big moment at 1:28 our time. And on the East Coast, you'll be able to see the partial eclipse just after 1 p.m. Eastern to mid-afternoon with that peak moment between 1:53 and 1:55. It's always cool. Now, if we can't be in those areas, you can also probably see all throughout social media that you'll be able to watch this, and then you'll see some really incredible photos taken of it as well. But pretty amazing. We've seen the total eclipse. I remember that a handful of years ago, people were traveling all over the place. Long lines. I remember us driving way down south to be able to see that. But now you got 3 things really cool going on today. Okay, this happened early this morning. A shelter in place for our friends over on the Illinois side due to a hazardous material fire that extended into East St. Louis. In fact, multiple crews were working the fire on Sauget Industrial Drive just before 3 o'clock this morning. Shelter in place is issued for the areas south of Missouri Avenue between South 50th and South 19th in Sauget, Cahokia Heights, and East St. Louis, extending to just north of the St. Louis downtown airport. The shelter in place including a portion of East St. Louis, north of Illinois Route 15, and just south of State Street. East St. Louis School District 189 announced that all schools will be closed as well due to the fire. Anyone in that area told to remain inside, close their windows, not use any system that brings that outside air into the home or into your business. While the fire is out, crews still working to contain the chemical plume. The acid is reactive to water, and crews are working on controlling that runoff. That's the latest information we had from about 3 hours ago. So continue to stay aware and check on your family and friends that might be affected by that. Again, that shelter in place from early this morning. Boy, here we go with a recall yet again, and this time it has to do with your meat. Beef imported from Argentina being recalled after a missing inspection. So why is it being recalled? The agency said the beef was not re-inspected when it arrived in the United States. There are several products that are being recalled. So I'm going to post this link right now in the comment section for you so you can see. Check your freezers, check your refrigerator to see if you have this. If so, discard it or take it back to where you bought it so you can get a full refund. All right, let's talk about happier things. If you live or you're around or you maybe go and do business in Clayton, Missouri, this could be a staple. They're approving a food truck pilot program for the downtown lunch crowd, food truck vending. City Council voted unanimously to allow these vendors every other Thursday in downtown Clayton. The City Council reviewed the updated research ahead of the vote, showed a growth correlation between food truck activity and brick and mortar restaurants. Foot traffic generated by those trucks benefiting established restaurants, of course, as well. So you're going to see this in the area as they approve a pilot program. And again, every other Thursday. The 2-year program stems from the city's Clayton Tomorrow 2040 comprehensive planning process. I love food trucks, by the way, and I love to see that it wasn't just like a short stint, but it has staying power. All right, I drove in Kirkwood, Missouri the other day, and I was like, wait a minute, that used to be a boutique. Now it's going to be a restaurant and opening in mid-August. So a rice paper ribbon cutting, opening Lona's Little Eats, second location in Kirkwood. Festivities getting underway. A staple of the Fox Park neighborhood. It will open an expansion. Now, this coming Saturday, it's being announced that the second location of Lona's Little Eats will have their grand opening. It will be located at 1612 West Woodbine Avenue. Festivities start this Saturday at 4 o'clock, so if you're looking for something to do, they will have a rice paper ribbon cutting. The celebration featuring door prize giveaways, grand prize, by the way, of a private table dinner for 6, hosted by Lona at a choice of location featuring an off-menu experience. This location, by the way, spans 4,500 square feet. It can host 84 guests with 36 tables with additional space available in a private room for special events. If you want to look at the menu, by the way, I'm going to go ahead and drop this one in for you as well. I'm super excited by this. As I mentioned, it was a boutique that was sitting right there on that corner, but now you're going to have a new restaurant in the Kirkwood, Missouri area. All right, we've got a warning from the BBB, the Better Business Bureau, about a scam, a $300 gas and grocery voucher scam. And this is going to affect several areas. The BBB is warning you in St. Louis and Illinois may be being hit by this voucher scam. An O'Fallon, Missouri resident reported to the BBB in their mailbox there was a postcard saying that they had over $300 $100 in grocery and gas vouchers immediately, and failure to claim would result in automatic forfeiture. Reports of these postcards are coming to the tracker from St. Louis, St. Joseph, Kansas City, Independence, Missouri, and in several Illinois cities, along with other cities across the country. Some people, unfortunately, say they've already lost money. So, to protect yourself, always check out a company on their website. If you've lost money, report it to the police, the BBB, your bank right away. Check your bank statements and your credit reports for unauthorized transactions. Again, that's one of those news you can use stories. Pass it along to your family and friends so they don't get scammed as well. And then this one is for us all to remember. Sure, we want that gorgeous shot. Yes, you want them to have the most beautiful shot on Instagram or Facebook or TikTok. But is it worth your life? That's what happened to this 20-year-old man. He died at a state park after he fell from a 177-foot waterfall while trying to pose for a photo in a closed-off area. So you do not go into that for a reason. They had it closed off for safety. He was posing for the photos at the top of the waterfall. He slipped and fell into the water below. Witnesses shared that they attempted to save him, but they couldn't. Oregon authorities identified the man as a 20-year-old from Burlington, Kentucky. No further details immediately released from the scene. This happened this week in Marion County, Oregon. Again, folks, it's not worth it. So please take care of yourself. All right. We told you it's a hot day at the ballpark for sure. The Cardinals coming out victorious, though. That's the good news. The final score was 2-0 against the Phillies, and it's going to be the same two teams today. The game is at 1:15 this afternoon. Near the hottest part of the day, unfortunately. And then the Cards and the Cubs, they'll be in Chicago Friday. That game is an afternoon game as well. All right, we're going to wrap up with our National Day of Calendar. Just a few things on tap. For all of you middle children that always feel like everybody goes off on us, we're the middle child syndrome. Today's your day. Celebrate your day. National Middle Child Day. In fact, do us a favor, drop a comment and tell me if you are a middle child. By the way, in the lineage for me, I'm the baby. National Vinyl Record Day. It is National Julian Fries Day. I can't say that I've ever had a Julian fry, by the way. And it is also, not just that, global observances today, International Youth Day and World Elephant Day. That's how we do it. Before we hit 7:15, we've got everything that we think you might want to talk about, water cooler talk, passing things along that are news you can use stories. Let me see who's on here. Christy, good morning to you, as well as Kathleen and Julie. I love how you all say friends, right? Joe, good morning to you as well. And then Rose said no rain down here at Clearwater Lake. Oh, thank you for taking us on vacation with you. Going to hang out at the lake today. Middle child, Julie says. Who else is a middle child? Today's your day. Again, enjoy it. We are going to take care of everyone from a wellness standpoint today, and we want you to think about these things earlier. So if you've got kids that are getting ready to go back to school, maybe they're starting college now or into next week, I want this message to get to our teenagers, our 20-year-olds, 30-year-olds. Start your wellness journey early. Otherwise, what's going to happen as you get into your later years? Well, I've got someone who's very passionate about our senior generation, 50, 60, 70, and up. Claire Flanagan. She is a personal trainer and a stretch therapist, and she is our guest on this Wellness Wednesday.
What if you could start your day feeling loose, relaxed, and ready? Deep hydrotherapy right in your backyard. No commute, no appointments, just warmth, relief whenever you need it. Sore muscles recover faster, tight joints loosen up, tension you carry all day, gone. Relax with your family or friends, or work out with our Michael Phelps Edition swim spas. Worried about maintenance? We have factory-trained service nearby whenever you need it. Plus, we're here for you long-term if you have any questions or need to refill supplies. You can even test spas at our showrooms. Spas and More, A+ rated, locally owned for 20 years. We put the ah in spa.
Welcome back again. Thanks for tuning in on this Wellness Wednesday. If you're just popping on, we just did a little news you can use. And now for the next 45 minutes, we're going to talk about your health and your wellness. And yes, I do, as you see in the description, want to target 50, 60, 70, 80 and up. Want you to be independent as long as you possibly can. So what if somebody would have given us this message at a much earlier age? Well, we are doing that. This is for everyone watching this morning. So welcome into a Wellness Wednesday. We are featuring Claire Flanagan. First time in our studio from Exist Stretch. How are you?
I'm excellent. I'm so happy to be here.
I am as well. So Claire and I first met when you had your grand opening. It was a handful of months after the grand opening, but we went there and we had a chance to meet all the staff. And I just love that people are getting why this is so necessary. But we want to go back because you may have been following along, or maybe this is your first time watching the show. By the way, welcome aboard if you are. Stay around. If you have to rush off, come back to it. That's the beauty of streaming, that you can watch it a little bit later. Your background, you are a personal trainer and a stretch therapist. So how'd you get into the industry?
So I initially started in the membership sales side of fitness, really loved it, but wanted to transfer over to the fitness side of fitness in 2023.
Okay.
So I got my personal training certification from NASM and worked at the Exercise Coach for a little over a year, which specializes in the older adult population. So most of my clients were 65 and up. And the oldest client I ever trained was 95 years old.
Oh my
But
goodness.
when you're 95 and you still have fitness goals, I'm down for it. She was probably my favorite client that I've ever had. Her goal was to walk a 5K in a year. And
Oh my goodness, at 95?
At 95.
Ooh,
You
I
can
love
have
that.
fitness goals at any age. But the most important part of it is that we had to work with her because she did have a little tumble on her treadmill. And I think that for her, it was about not being flexible enough to really gather herself after she took a little stumble.
Yep.
So working with that older population, I've really incorporated that into the Exist Stretch population that we work with mostly older adults, but it is applicable to anyone of any age.
Absolutely. You know, it's interesting that you say that. When I was training seniors a long time ago, one of the number one things, Claire, and I bet you did this as well, they wanted to learn how to get up out of a fall, because some of them, they want to be independent. They want to still live on their own. But then when they fall and there's no one there, I know a horrible story of a woman who was in her home for 2.5 days.
It happens all the time.
Yes,
it happens
it's scary.
all the time. So when I worked, I transferred from working with older adults to working with more of the general population, but I would gather my older adults with me to the point where my boss was like, you have this little niche with like all these older people. I love them all. But I love them because they are super motivated to be independent. And that makes them, they never miss appointments. They're super motivated when they're there. And that was one of the things that we worked on constantly, was about to get yourself out of a fall, to have that chest, especially with older women, because they're more likely to fall. They're more likely to break something as a result of osteoporosis and osteopenia. So it's like getting that chest muscle going and getting it activated so they can push themselves up and get to safety.
So again, if you're just tuning in, I know it's a new face for you. This is Claire Flanagan. She is a personal trainer and a stretch therapist. Talk about that for a second, because there's a lot of women. First of all, they look at a push-up and it's still in their mindset that that's something men should do.
That's a boy thing.
Yes,
to
that's
do.
exactly.
Yeah,
that's a boy. That's a
thing.
man thing.
Yeah.
I can't do that. Oh, I can do a female version. But when you would train your seniors, would you start them up at a higher level, at a countertop or even against a wall?
Not really. I didn't start them there. What I would start them with was chest presses on the floor.
Okay.
So that they could, because usually they weren't even strong enough to push themselves up off the wall. So
But they were agile enough to get down to the ground?
I made them.
I love this.
I made them. So if they were able to get on the ground, they got on the ground. Otherwise, they would be on a stability ball at first, so that they would have that balance in the hips and the core. Getting yourself to safety isn't just about the chest. It's about the entire package.
Right.
So one woman that I worked with, specifically, I remember her. Her and her husband bought personal training because she couldn't get up off of a seat without help. And that was even a high seat. So after a few months, I was able to get her to the point where she was able to get up off of a low seat with her knees above her hips. And so it's all important.
Sure.
You know, for people that age, your independence and mobility is directly related to not only your strength, but also your ability to be flexible.
Right.
Because if you fall in a weird position or if you need to gather yourself after you have tripped over something, you are going to have that flexibility and the muscle mass to decelerate and kind of get yourself upright again.
Sure. For all of you that are watching that are in this category that we're talking about, do me a favor. Tell me, what is it that you're doing right now for your health and wellness, for your fitness? Have you even started a program? If not, it is paramount that you do so. But Claire and I were talking before we went on how much we wish this would be the message that teenagers and 20-year-olds hear, to start that journey at a very young age and to never stop it.
Exactly. That was one of the things that I always talk to my 20-year-old clients about. I was like, this is your best decade for your retirement. So it's especially for young women, it's your best decade to be putting money into your retirement with that first job, even if it's only $5 a week.
Yep.
And this is your bone building decade. You will have to survive off of the bone density that you build in your 20s for the rest of your life. My story is I had severe anorexia in my 20s and into my 30s. And so I wanted to share with young women that I lost those 2.5 decades of bone building, and osteoporosis runs in my family. You know, I'm desperately trying to lift weights now in order to stave off some osteopenia and osteoporosis. But if somebody had told me at 20, it's not about being skinny, it's about being strong, I wish I would have listened. And women are listening now.
They are.
Women don't think that muscularity and flexibility are just for the boys anymore. Women want to be strong now.
You're right. So yes, if I go back into my 20s, I was blessed, and I say that all the time, that I was introduced at 15 to working out because of my soccer coach. And then I fell in love with the beginning, and it was before it got out of hand, with the beginning look of fitness and bodybuilders. I mean, I can go back to Corey Everson and Rachel McClish, who used to be the spokesperson for Victanian Bally's back then. You would look at this and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's beautiful. Then it got a little crazy, but now it's to the point of, oh, muscles are pretty. Strong is great. Strong for women is great.
Yeah, athleticism is great. And we have so many more things now, like the High Rocks events and the Tough Mudders, where women have an opportunity to not only show off their athleticism in their bodies, but show off their athleticism in their skill set.
And the mobility that's so important. I love the fact that we can scroll all throughout Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. You mentioned it. You right now, as we say it, it's going to pop up on your phone, by the way. Mobility was never really driven into people's heads over the decades. Now, everyone, men, women, kids alike, are all doing mobility, aren't they?
Absolutely. And mobility is for everyone. If you're a young athlete or if you're a young weekend warrior, it's for you to help your recovery. But if you're older, it's for you to help your independence.
And just do day-to-day moves, right?
And just do those functional movements on day-to-day. You want to do those compound movements with your weightlifting, and you want to complement those compound movements by becoming more mobile. And one of the ways that we can help do that at Exist Stretch is by doing that assistive stretch for you. So I have a client right now. He comes in a crazy amount. He comes in for 3 hours a week.
Wow.
He's a
diehard.
He's a diehard. He's an ex-veteran. Not ex-veteran, you're always a veteran, but he's a veteran. But he is a diehard gym goer. And in order to get into the proper form for squats and all of that strength building that you want to do, you need to be extra mobile for that. Sure. And so that's one of the things we worked on. He had a hip injury and a shoulder injury, and now he can do chest presses and squats with no problem whatsoever because of the mobility that we've given back to him. Now, if you're older, you're going to have to lift weights, period, no matter who you are. But you're not going to be able to be as effective if you're not as mobile as you can be.
Sure.
So one of the ways that we do that is by taking you from where you are and gently, in a pain-free way, stretching you out so that the fascia, which Trish is talking about a lot, the connective tissue around the muscles and the joints, as well as the muscles and the joints have traction in them. So you are moving pain-free. You're not as sore after your workouts, and you can stay independent for longer.
It's interesting. Again, folks, if you're just tuning in, it's a Wellness Wednesday. We're talking about fitness, mobility, health and wellness, longevity, independence, all these things that you're saying, yes, that's what I want. It's wonderful to look at men and women both that are beyond 65, 70, in their 80s, in their 90s, as Claire just said, at 95, someone's saying, I want to do a 5K. These are all things that when we look back at our grandmas of yesteryear, it was lifting weights. What are you talking about? That's what guys do. I don't lift weights, but we have to for strong bones.
We're living longer, and it's not about how long you live. It's about the health span that you have while you're alive.
Yeah.
And I look back at both my grandmothers. They were both very frail, and one grandmother lived until she was 97. She stopped moving in her early 40s. And so she had no quality of life.
Right.
And she lived that long. If we're living longer, you get to choose your hard. You can either choose your hard like her, isolated in an apartment in New York, or you can choose your hard. I'm going to lift weights. This is going to be hard at first, but I'm going to really fall in love with it, and I'm going to be mobile and active and sharp because it keeps your mind sharp as well.
And by the way, we love to do the passing along of things you should be talking about with your families, things that you can use. She and I, before we went on, also talked about having the test done, and it's frustrating when insurance won't pay for it, right, at an earlier age. But a lot of that, Claire, is being pushed younger. We're seeing colonoscopies. We're seeing mammograms being done younger. So maybe we push for it, and things are done earlier so you can catch things. Yes, we need to know what is the strength of our bones at an early age. So get your test done.
Yeah, you can always get a DEXA scan. There's a place in South County that does it, which I'm sure Monica can link to in the description box. But by the time your insurance will pay for it at 65, it is too late. Yep. You will already have osteopenia or osteoporosis, and there is nothing you can do about it at that point except for try to maintain the bone mass that you already have, that you still have left. I am planning on going and getting a DEXA scan. I'm 44 this year. This is my year to get my DEXA scan so that I have a baseline to see where my bone density is now, and I can hopefully prevent some of the problems that my grandparents had.
Well, and I love the rawness and the honesty when we get on together. The fact that Claire mentioned earlier that she grew up, that she has a background of anorexia, which is an entire show that we need to do. Anorexia, bulimia, the things that are happening during that. And it is all because of what's on magazines, on book covers, in your TV shows. We used to say on the big screen, all of those things of, oh, I got to be this big. No, you don't. You need to be healthy.
You need to be healthy and strong.
Yes.
Absolutely. 100%.
Thank you for saying that, though. We're going to take a break. I'm going to look at comments that are coming in. So we're going to talk about the comment. We have a bunch of questions lined up for Claire. But the comment that everyone says, but Claire, can't I just do this on my own? Don't answer yet. Claire Flanagan, you have any questions for her? Any aha moments of things that you're like, yep, that's me, that's my mom, that's my grandma. What can I do for them now? Bring them in, by the way, if you have not been into Exist Stretch. They have 2 locations. I know a lot of you are like, oh, I wish you were in St. Charles County. Oh, I wish you were in Illinois. It's worth the drive. Come in to the one that makes the most sense for you, 5605 Hampton in the St. Louis Hills area, inside of Exist Fitness, so you get the kind of bang for your buck where you have a gym and you have the stretch inside of there off of Vogel Road. Check out existstretch.com and on social media at ExistStretch as well. All right, more with Claire when we return.
I love working here. You know, I come in here and I feel positivity with everybody, down from the housekeepers up to the CEO. Our bosses actually get on the floor with us, help us out. I've been in plenty work nursing homes, and being here, it makes me feel very happy all the time. Being around these residents is amazing things. I might cry. Working with them, it's like my grandma and my grandpa. When I'm at home, and I can come here, I feel free. When I'm having bad days, I can just walk in here and boom, I'm back into a happy place. They make everything happy and joyful, and they all respectful. They do put an impact on my life big time. That's it. I mean, yeah, that's the best memories. Hey, this is my place. This is my home.
Welcome back to we have a double title sponsor, by the way, if you haven't been into the Porch in Wildwood and Kaufman Outdoors. We're going to talk about them here in just a little bit. Two incredible people that I want you to support. And in fact, we have a full list of sponsors, and it keeps growing and growing. If your business wants to be a part of it, just reach out to me at info@therealmonicaadams.com, and then look down there below. When it comes time for you to need any of that, please do me a favor and support those that support us. And thank you, by the way, for tuning in every morning at 7 a.m. So Claire Flanagan is our guest today from Exist Stretch, and there's a lot of comments and aha moments that are coming in. By the way, we're going back to today being the middle child. What are you, and do you have siblings?
I have siblings. I'm the youngest.
You're the youngest?
Yeah.
Babies.
Yeah.
But today's middle child day. So Lynn said, I'm a middle. So if you're all a middle child, today's your day. Enjoy it. Julie says, hi, Claire. She has stretched me. So Julie, thank you for going in and supporting Stretch. Babs is watching. She said, this early prep of physical health is crucial. At 88, because I've been active and exercised, I've been able to still live in my own place, which is what we're trying to allow you, right? That independence. I do have assistance due to hip replacements, of course. Claire, welcome, Rose says. My fitness goal is to get up from a sofa without help. My legs are weak from a bad back. Physical therapy did not help me. What exercises would you have her do to be able to get out of that chair?
I would have her start at a high level. So instead of starting with your knees above your hips, I would have her start on like a higher stool and using hand weights or wrist weights to get herself up, to keep practicing that multiple times a day. And then I would also recommend that she does like light squats next to her kitchen counter. Starting there would be really helpful. She can also go to the gym and do the leg press or any kind of hamstring curl is also going to help her get up from her couch. The most important thing, though, is going to be core work as well.
Yep.
Keeping that core strong so she can tighten the core to lift herself up is going to be really important.
Yep.
And she can do that standing by just contracting the abs down in like a standing crunch as well.
Yes, the core is so important for so many reasons, right? So strong core and balance exercises as well. Rose said the 60s hit me hard. Carrie says there's a saying, you don't quit playing because you're old because you quit playing. Don't give up on yourself, right? And don't stay isolated, like she mentioned earlier, that depression that settles in from that isolation. Dale Paula Wood, good morning. Very informative show. I have trouble getting up because of bad knees and hips. Here we go. My wife Paula and I are both 74. Paula goes to a senior gym and does classes. I love that. Also, I work on exercises with my granddaughter. I love that too, right? Pulling generations.
Yeah,
Yes,
absolutely.
Absolutely. Okay, so we're talking about fitness. We're talking about the importance of stretch. So as I mentioned going into the break, what do you say to all those people that say, well, Claire, can't I just do this on my own?
I mean, you can do certain stretches on your own and they're going to be effective, but if you want the most effective stretch possible, you want someone else doing the stretch because we're able to get into angles that you're not able to get into yourself.
Yeah, now let's look at some of the video and pictures of Claire doing this, because there is no way, especially with the one woman, she's pretty crazy flexible, by the way, but the way you're torquing your body and being able to move us in directions that we absolutely cannot do is what you're talking about. And so some people might look at this, though, and think, are you pushing me beyond and it's going to be hurting me? You mentioned earlier pain-free.
It's completely pain-free. You're going to feel a good stretch, but you're not going to feel any pain because I can feel, and Trish can also feel, when the tissue starts to slow down, that's when we stop. So we only take you to your first point of resistance. The other thing is I think it's important to have an appointment because I'm also a runner. So all runners know we don't stretch. We just run. We don't stretch because we're going to do it after our shower, after we get done with our run. And we're going to do it tonight, or we're going to do it tomorrow morning before the next shower or before the next run. So having that appointment and having that accountability is extremely important, and it's going to make sure that you do it every week.
Come on. Can I just pause here for a second? Seriously, when she first came into you, I mean, is she already pretty flexible?
She is already pretty flexible. There's also like something that we would talk about with her is some people are hypermobile, and so stretching on their own can sometimes cause injury because they don't know how far they're getting into the stretch.
Good point.
So one of the ways that we were trained when we were trained in Arizona was how to deal with people who are hypermobile. So instead of putting traction into the joint, we could do compression into the joint so that the fascia tissue can now communicate with the muscles and the joint tissue that is going to be more tight rather than looser.
Good point. Yeah, because all of you that are out there and then you move around like Gumby, you don't know what your stopping point is.
That's definitely not my problem.
No, it's not mine.
Yeah.
I've had tight hamstrings. Are you with us? I have tight hamstrings. I overly did my quads when I was working out. Stephanie says I do healthy joints in the pool, water exercise I love, and do a silver sneakers class also. I love that. I go 3 times a week. You know what? I love all of you that are doing this. We need to continue to have you as a role model and get that message out there to those that are not, right? The whole aspect of a body in motion stays in motion. A body at rest stays at rest.
It definitely does. It definitely does. And it's also just about, like, you get to choose what kind of life you want to live. And I think that my grandmother on my mom's side always just say, don't ever get old. And it's like, you get to choose that.
Yeah.
You are choosing to be in the mind frame of, I don't ever want to get old.
I want to be a badass when I'm old.
I want to be 95. I mean, longevity runs in our family, so I'm probably going to be 95. So it's like I have to choose what that's going to look like now.
I want you and I to talk when I'll be in my 90s, you'll be in your 80s. I want us to be doing deadlifts, right? And trap bar deadlifts, things like that.
Absolutely.
It's beautiful to watch. I have a client, Claire, that, she's been with me for probably almost 4 years now. She came to me and said, I want you to train me not like a 70-year-old. In her words, it was, don't be delicate with me. I want to be pushed. She came from doing CrossFit.
Oh, wow.
Before she came to me, but she was like, my body wasn't liking it. I'm like, yeah, that's a really important point, by the way. You have to find what works for you, what you love, because right? So then you're going to stick with that. Feel free, by the way, to drop in any questions or comments as you're watching this morning. Okay. So can you get off the floor without help? We've talked about that. Can you carry your groceries? Now we're talking about day-to-day activities.
Yeah, those activities,
right?
The daily living.
Can you, in your kitchen, even like reach up? And that's when people probably come to you going, all I did was try to reach and grab a plate out of my cabinet.
Well, especially for perimenopausal women and postmenopausal women, frozen shoulder is a serious issue for them. So we have women who are in their 50s and 60s who can't reach fully above the head. And so that's one of the things that we work on in stretch. That's something that you're not going to be able to do yourself. If you already lacked that mobility in the shoulder to begin with, us kind of pushing you to that first point of resistance and getting the angles is going to help rehab that shoulder. Not that we do rehab, but you know what I mean. It's going to help re-strengthen and re-loosen up that shoulder.
But you know what? You do, Claire. You think about it, and we've mentioned this on the show with Trisha in the past, that it is an entire team that's in your corner. So maybe you have a chiropractor and you have a physical therapist working through some trauma. Maybe you're just coming back from a surgery. I know some of you that are watching in the past saying, I'm trying to find that sweet spot, Claire, of when do I come in? Is it past maybe 3, 4, 5 times to the physical therapist and now you're working hand in hand with them? It is a team.
Well, my fiance comes in every week and he's in physical therapy for very severe sciatica in his on his right side. And so a lot of the same stretches that they do with him at physical therapy, I'm doing with him in studio, and so it is actually helping him improve even more quickly.
Sure. And
according to him, and I've have found this in my own experience with stretch, is that a massage will last me 1 or 2 days, but stretch lasts almost a full week. Well, so you'll feel that benefit for almost a full week.
So in the time that you've worked with people, give us some feedback, because I know Trisha has mentioned in the past that some people feel it immediate, some it's later that evening, some it's the aha of the next day of, I didn't even realize I'm moving in a different way. You hear all of those?
I hear all of those. People always come up from the table and they're like, I feel taller, because we do that traction, we balance that traction along with the stretch. So they're already feeling like more uplifted, especially in the neck area. So they all come off the table. They both look taller and they feel taller.
Absolutely. I've had 2. I know I had to cancel a couple of weeks ago. I want you to stretch me because I've now been stretched by Tim and Trisha, but now I want to be stretched by Justin and Claire. And let's just stress that the entire team is there for you. So you don't have to say, oh, do I have to come into Claire? Do I have to come into Trisha? just get your appointment on the schedule.
Just get it on the books, absolutely. And your first stretch is always free with us, and so it's a great opportunity to come in and see how you feel. Now, the only caveat to that is that you better be prepared to like come in again, because it becomes very addictive.
Yes.
Like feeling that mobility, feeling that looseness is amazing.
Yeah, because it's the aha moment, right, Claire? That this is how I can feel.
This is how I'm supposed to feel.
Yeah, right? This is the aha moment of again, I was not living my life this way and didn't think that I was going to be able to, because you've been fed a bad bill of goods thinking that you couldn't. So can you climb stairs properly, right? Do you have to drive around a parking lot because you're like, I don't think I can walk that far? These are all things that we want you to have this whole new life that's been waiting there for you. So maybe you have fear, right? Can you twist the body? Can you bend over? I think we heard one of the stories in the past of a woman who used to not be able to bend down very much, and without even paying attention, she had dropped her keys, I think Trisha said, and then just like popped up, and she was like, I just went down and got that.
I just finally, that just happened to me, and like I didn't even realize I was able to do that anymore. Yeah, but I mean, also you think about all these people who throw out their backs or throw out their low backs, like bending over to pick up laundry.
Yep.
You know, and us being able to prevent that is huge.
Absolutely.
Low back pain is one of the leading causes of disability in the United States.
Low back pain, you don't want to have, you mentioned earlier your fiance. Sciatica, my husband says, is one of the most painful things ever.
It's so painful. And he's a fine dining server. He's been working in the industry for the last 30 years. And
constantly on your feet.
He's constantly on his feet. He's constantly walking around at night, working on all these tables. So for him to be able to get physical therapy and come in and get stretched and get that relief faster is huge.
Absolutely. By the way, I love all of you that are welcoming Claire. We want to see the entire team on the show, so that's what we're talking about doing here in the coming weeks. Can we congratulate her? She got engaged in Hawaii.
Yeah.
Mid-January?
Mid-January. Yeah.
So do you have a date planned for when you're getting married?
We are having it in our backyard, so we have a lot of landscaping that has to happen next summer, and then after that we'll make the actual date plan.
I love that.
Yeah, it's going to be really beautiful.
Let's congratulate. What is your fiance's name?
Chris.
Hi, Chris. Okay, Claire, when and what location are you at?
I'm at Hampton, the Hampton location. I'm there Monday, Wednesday, Friday all day. Thursday nights and Saturdays from open to close.
Okay, and again, there's all the information of the hours on your screen. They are closed, by the way, on Sundays, but the Hampton, the St. Louis Hills location, is where you can be stretched. I know, Rose, you and your friend have been wanting to get in, so make it happen. Stop putting it off. Put yourself first. Stephanie says there's a lot of older people at the Y. They look good. Yes, because they're getting in. They're putting themselves first. I go to the Y at River Chase, right down the street. Praise God for silver sneakers. Julie said I sit up straighter after coming in and getting stretched. And she said, I'm addicted.
She is.
Yay, Claire, rent out Monica's yard. No, they're landscaping, she said. They're getting ready for their own. Yes. Okay, I have a bunch of questions that have been kind of waiting in the wings from people that have said, can you ask these on a future show? Absolutely. So Claire, when someone says I'm over 60 and my body is just breaking down, what do you say to that?
I say you're choosing that hard.
Oh, I like it.
Yeah, so your body might be breaking down, but it might be breaking down due to inactivity. There's always some activity that everybody can do, even if you start with just simple chair yoga or chair weightlifting. You can start anywhere.
Absolutely. I mean, why do you think you go into, again, it could be a senior center. You could go into a skilled facility. Shout out to Garden View. We were there yesterday, the one in O'Fallon. I know that on their activities list, they are always throughout the week having movement classes. Something to where some of them are a little bit more agile and mobile and they're standing. Some of them might be in a chair. Some of them might be in their wheelchair, but they're moving, right? And it helps mental, it helps spiritual, it helps the physical side. So again, I hope you understand the biggest message we're trying to get across today is movement. Is it possible, Claire, that some of what we blame on aging is actually deconditioning?
It is deconditioning. It's almost 100% deconditioning. If from working with the elderly adults that I have worked with over the course of my career, it is 100% of deconditioning.
What does functional fitness really mean for someone in their 60s, 70s, or 80s?
Functional fitness is kind of a buzzword that we use to describe more compound movements. So that's using multiple joints in the same movement. And those are great because they can help you participate in the activities of daily living, which are things like carrying your groceries from the car to the house, reaching up and grabbing something off the top shelf. So if you think of like a shoulder press that's going up, that's the same thing as reaching up and bringing something down. It's about decelerating things as they're coming towards you when you're lifting something heavy from above your head to down below your chest. So that's it's kind of like a term that we use that most people don't understand what it means, but it just basically means that you're using compound movements, which are multi-joint movements, to help you participate in those activities of daily living.
Stephanie just said, congratulations, Claire. We need you to come to Illinois. I know, this is the thing, see?
We're not that far away from Illinois.
No,
we have
not at all.
Illinois patrons.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What is who has told you that they've come from the farthest?
The farthest probably is somebody from Spanish Lake.
Okay.
But we also have several people that came from Granite City because they're our heroes.
Yes, they have hero package pricing, by the way.
They're firefighters and police officers from Granite City.
Again, we want to thank our first responders. They do have hero package pricing. Again, we can't stress it enough. How do you turn down free? Your very first session is free. Then there's a package 5 for $230 that they've been running.
Right now,
the hero package pricing that you can find out about the police or firefighters, paramedics, et cetera, anybody that's a first responder.
Or a veteran.
And veterans, again, we want to thank you for your service and your hero work that you've done for us. So they're taking care of you. They always run these different specials. By the way, don't go to the website to try to purchase a package. You call or come in for that. So when they run those specials. Claire, like I said, I have a bad back. My legs ache. Find myself stooping to relieve pain. Such a no-no. I thought she has rheumatoid arthritis.
Okay.
I thought my RA caused my leg pain. No. Have you heard of this? Ever have a client like me?
I have had clients like you. Basically, the rheumatoid arthritis, you'll get under control with your rheumatologist, but movement can really help that because it can bring down inflammation throughout the entire body system. So for her, I would recommend, I would recommend chair yoga for to begin with, and assistive stretch, where we can really like help lengthen out some of that fascia tissue around the muscles to give you some relief in that way.
Yeah, Rose, by the way, I know you've been waiting for your friend. So maybe you get in and get your own free stretch and then you go back with your friend. Don't keep putting yourself off, by the way. You need this. Sarah, hello. Sarah Bierman says, Claire is amazing. So are you, Sarah. We love you, by the way. Terry says, my doctor says, motion is lotion. Keep moving.
Mm-hmm. It absolutely is. I love that. I haven't heard that before.
I don't, me either. Okay, so why is strength training so important after 60? Why are so many people, Claire, afraid of lifting weights as they get older?
The number one concern that I heard from women who were wanting to lift weights after 60 is that they were worried about bulking up.
Yeah.
And that is the dirty little secret of the fitness industry. When you see women who are extremely bulked up, they are all on steroids.
Amen.
They're all on steroids. You do not have enough testosterone or growth hormone in your body at that point to get bulky. You may get a little definition, like a tiny
which
little
is
bit
beautiful.
Which is beautiful, like nice curvy shoulders, things like that. But you will not get bulked up. And if people are worried about, like, well, what if I have a six-pack and, like, looks weird? Your body fat has to be so low to get a six-pack. Yes. Like, I mean, you have to be in the single digits, which we're not going to do.
And why would you not want it, by the way? It's amazing. And your core is crazy strong. It's funny. So you're about 10 years younger than me. And, yes, we have all heard the same thing growing up. Even when I was in my 20s and I was lifting, and they were all like, oh, you're lifting really strong. Oh, aren't you afraid you're going to look like a man? I'm like, I don't have the testosterone they do.
Most men don't have the testosterone like that either.
Yeah.
You know, that's like a whole thing.
That's a whole other show of them injecting way too much testosterone.
Lots of testosterone.
Exactly. Well, we talked a little bit about this. How important is mobility compared with strength? Can you have one without the other?
You cannot have one without the other. I mean, you can, but then you wind up being very stiff and not able to, like, it puts you in a more dangerous position. So you'll be very bulky, like not bulky, but you'll be very strong, but very stiff.
Yes.
And again, you run into that same problem as being frail and stiff, is if you trip over something, you're not able to fully gather yourself and get yourself back on balance.
Well, and the other thing is there's a reason why all of us personal trainers regularly say you should be incorporating many different types of exercises. So lifting weights, doing yoga, doing Pilates, doing some type of, people used to love to do Zumba. Maybe some of you I know play sand volleyball. You're moving and you're maybe sometimes doing sports specific to get ready for that.
Right.
But if we're only working short twitch muscle fibers, that's a problem. You've got to work fast twitch, short twitch, small,
All of it.
right? Instead
Yeah.
of I'm just like, oh, why am I like this? I'm so stiff. And the other is balancing. So it's we used to call it the guys would walk the beach and they would take their shirts off. I just want everybody to see my chest and and then my
Right.
little bird legs and never
Right,
working the legs.
exactly.
Or they're heavily rounded and they never work their back.
Exactly. I mean, I think that what I would recommend as a personal trainer for most adults over the age of 60, do something you love, do something social. So try to go to an exercise class or do a sport that you really love.
So people are together with you.
So people are together with you. That's going to make for a very healthy aging so that you have those bonds and connections well into your elderliness.
Yeah, Claire, I think they'll text or call. Hey, where are you?
Where are you? Exactly.
You missed your 9 o'clock.
I have a client right now. He's in his 70s. He's had 2 hip replacements on the right side and a knee replacement, and then blew out both his Achilles tendons. And he goes to 2 exercise classes at the Y every single morning.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, because he knows if he doesn't move it, he's going to lose it.
Yep.
And he's also a highly social person. He's an extreme extrovert. I'm not saying you need to be as quite as extroverted as this guy is, but he's an extreme extrovert, and he knows that community is where it's at.
Absolutely. Well, again, we talked about it earlier, how important it is not just to move that body, but to have that socialization. What that was also for cognitive function as we're getting older as well.
Absolutely.
Okay. Gosh, there's so many. No, and we know the answer to this. Is 70 too late to build strength? What about 80? What about 90, Claire?
It's never too late to build strength. It's just like what I tell all my girls who are in their 20s. Your 20s are the best time to start preparing for retirement. But does that mean you don't start preparing for retirement in your 30s or your 40s or your 50s or your 60s?
Just start.
You can improve at any age, but you're going to get the maximum benefit starting a little earlier.
Right.
You're still going to get a benefit from starting later.
Absolutely. Rose said, okay. All right, I'm going with my husband soon. He's nodding at me right now. Good. Okay, good. So go in with the hubby, then go back with the friend. Again, we just talked about bringing everybody together. Cheryl says, this sounds amazing. Does this include healthcare workers for the hero package?
It does not. So
Okay.
we don't include healthcare workers, but our prices are extremely competitive, and I think you'll be able to find a package or a membership that works best for you. Memberships are definitely the most effective and cost-effective way to participate in assisted stretch.
Yeah, and then you'll find out what works for you. By the way, you'll go in for that first free stretch. As she said, you're going to get addicted to it. Then it becomes, from a financial side, from a time side, does it make sense to go once a month? Is it twice or is it 3 times like
3
that one
times for an
gentleman?
hour.
Right, so as she said, there are different packages for you. Also, when they run these specials, take advantage. I know last time Trisha was on, do you still have the 5 for $230?
We do until Labor Day.
Okay, perfect. So that runs through Labor Day, and then you just keep, we'll let you know what runs maybe into fall as we head into winter.
Also, we're going to be at Grub and Groove in
Oh,
St.
that's right.
Francis
Is that
Park.
this weekend?
It's this weekend. So come find our booth, and you can get a free 10-minute stretch as well.
I saw that on the stretch page, and our fearless leader, Stephanie, was posting that as well. Yeah, so Grub and Groove, tell them where it's located.
St. Francis Park.
So if you have not been into the city, great park, go support small businesses, and again, come by and see their table as well. All right, one more. What are the 3 things you would tell every person over 60 to start doing this week?
This week, I would recommend, if you're not very mobile, to do chair yoga to begin with. I would recommend getting a pair of hand weights and ankle weights and start walking around your house with those. So wrist weights and ankle weights, start walking around your house so you get a little bit of extra weight in there. And then I would also recommend getting a weighted vest. If you are already walking, walk with a weighted vest. For most people, they do not weigh enough for walking to be a good weight-bearing activity. So I recommend a nice adjustable weighted vest can help with that.
I just saw our dear friend who, by the way, we are talking about doing a regular show together, Dr. Richard Lehman, who has been on our show in the past, phenomenal orthopedic surgeon. He did one of his Dr. Rick Informs on the weighted vest, told people how to start. He said start with about 10 pounds.
Right.
Do not go above 25, he says. This is coming from a surgeon. Don't go above 25.
You don't want that much pressure on your spine.
Yes. And start flat. Then you're building up to a little incline. And then those, endurance athletes are like, oh, I got this. I got the mountain.
Right.
I can do this. So, folks, yeah, absolutely. Stephanie says, thank you, Claire and Monica. Good information. What's the deal? 5 for $230. Is that what you mean? 5 for $230 is, again, through Labor Day that you can take advantage of. Should someone wait until they have pain before seeking help with mobility?
No, absolutely not.
Why would you do that?
Yeah. You don't wait until the car's out of oil to put put oil in your car.
Yeah. What should someone over 60 be able to do that they should never simply accept losing? Oh, good one.
Bending over and touching your toes.
I like it.
Yeah.
Can exercise become a social activity and actually help combat isolation?
100% yes. 100% yes. And there's so many different groups, especially at the Y. And the Y is nice because it has silver sneakers, but it also has a sliding scale. So if you're on a fixed income and you don't have silver sneakers, they have that sliding scale membership options. And they have so many programs for people who like those exercise classes, and you can do whatever you want just as long as you get up and get moving.
How should someone train differently at 65 than they did at 35?
They should not train any differently, I don't believe. You might be starting out from more of a deficit.
Right.
But I've seen some 30-year-olds who really need some help.
I agree.
Yeah.
Okay, look, I'm in my mid-50s, and I know 20-year-olds and 30-year-olds that I have trained, and they look over at me and they're like, you are out training me. I'm like, I've been training since I was 15.
Right.
Can you please, I'm going to drive this home to you. Don't ever stop.
Don't stop, because once you stop moving, you will stop moving.
Yes, because it's so easy to all of a sudden go, oh my gosh, I thought I was just going to stop for a couple of days. I took a week off. Now it's years later.
Well, sarcopenia is a real thing. And for those of you who don't know, sarcopenia is the age-related degeneration of your muscles. You lose about 10% of your muscle mass per decade, starting from your 30s into your 60s. By the time you get into your 7th, 8th, and 9th decades, it's 10% per year.
Yeah.
So you have to be training even harder in your 70s, 80s, and 90s than you did even when you were 30. So if you're asking me, like, what is the difference? Train harder now than you ever did before.
Well, and there's a gentleman, we have that video that we were showing a ton, and we were doing it on purpose because I wanted you to know this man has Parkinson's disease. And have you ever trained or stretched him?
I have not stretched Rich.
So he literally has said, his wife has said, I can watch his tremors subside in that 30-minute stretch. If that's not an aha moment of, wait a minute, are you serious? Yes. That, and by the way, have you ever stretched anyone that has fibromyalgia?
I have, and I also have fibromyalgia.
Oh, you do?
I do. So, but I was told by a pain management specialist when I was in my 20s when I got diagnosed with it, just don't stop moving, you'll be fine. And he was absolutely right.
Good for him, because I have trained a lot of people with fibromyalgia who physicians have said, don't lift weights, don't do that. I'm like, oh, I completely disagree. If you're okay with this, we're going to do this together.
I think it's about doing it smartly.
Yes.
But I was told very specifically, if you stop moving, that's when the pain will get worse.
Right.
And I've also worked with people who have had MD, so muscular dystrophy. So we worked around his needs at that time. He had... he could not use his quads. So like his doctor, the only restriction his doctor gave us was I don't want him any pressure on his quads. So we just worked around that, and he got a lot stronger.
Well, and yeah, I had someone who had MD, MS, fibromyalgia, and it's interesting because the family even gave up on their brother one time, and they were like, oh, no, he can't do that. And I said, he can. You probably need to leave so that he and I can just work together. We can have this bond of trust. He went from being in his wheelchair, being rolled around to each machine because that's all they thought he could do, to suddenly we worked on getting up out of the chair, and then I would hold him with a belt and we would box.
Nice.
I mean, it's amazing. And that, by the way, from Parkinson's, there is a rock steady box that studies show that type of movement was good for them, for their brain, for their stability, for their mobility.
Fast twitch muscle fibers. Absolutely. Yeah.
Look, we could go on for hours. Have you not enjoyed Claire? So I want to introduce you to more and more of the team so you can understand they're all great. Claire Flanagan, Trisha Rhodes. Now, I don't know what's Tim's last name?
Wallach.
Wallach?
Yeah.
Tim Wallach and Justin?
Warner.
Okay, so Justin and Tim and Claire and Trisha, all waiting there for you to deliver this type of incredible wellness to you. If you haven't been in yet, one more time, very first stretch, absolutely free. 2 locations, one at 5605 Hampton in St. Louis Hills, the other inside of Exist Fitness on Vogel Road, which is in Arnold. Get to the one that makes sense for you. Make the drive. I don't care if you're in Illinois, you're in St. Genevieve County. I don't care if you're in St. Charles County. It is worth it. ExistStretch.com at ExistStretch. Kristen just said, I love my weighted vest. Yes. And you know what? As you're coming out of summer, don't all of a sudden think, oh, I can just start putting on layers and layers. No one's everyone's going to see that I'm putting on weight and I'm not taking care of myself. Yes, we will. We can see that you're slowing down. You can see it in your skin. We can see that you've given up on yourself. We're here to help you keep moving through the fall, through the winter, etc. Well, thank you. You have been a pleasure.
Thank you.
At the end, Claire, I always let everybody pick our devotional. So we do these 100 Days to Freedom books.
Nice.
Or it's 100 Days of. So it's 100 Days to Freedom from depression, anger, shame, fear and anxiety, or 100 Days of Healing. What do you think we need
Let's
today?
do 100 Days of Healing in honor of the healing of Stretch.
The journey that you're on. So Claire and Trisha and Tim and Justin are waiting to take care of you. I can't wait till you get in. Rose, get in with your husband, by the way. Can't wait till you get in. And then do us a favor and shoot me a message and let me know how it has changed your life. All right, we're going to talk about healing. We are going to tell you what's coming up tomorrow and Friday. And I just mentioned Kaufman Outdoors and the Porch. Why do you want to get into them? I'll tell you all about that next as well.
Most places you walk into, you look around, you nod, not here. You could try anything. Woo! Only 3 minutes in here, I'm already gassed. Check this bad boy out. It's a swim spa. Let's go. This is called the Sweaty Goat. This is where my demons out. Whether it's a hot tub, a swim spa, a sauna, or a cold tub, you come in here and you could try it and you pick what you want. That's Spas and More STL. And tell them Cam sent you.
Wasn't she just a pleasure? So we were just talking about how important it is for us to get more and more of the team into you. So if you just tuned in, you missed the whole show, it's okay. Go back and watch it. By the way, do me a favor, subscribe to our YouTube channel because we have a huge library of shows that are waiting there for you. And did you all know we're coming up on 1,000 shows right around the November time period? And I had a really great call yesterday that someone reached out to me and said, will you come to our community? I'm not going to say which one yet because we are narrowing down the date, but I already have one community that wants to be a part of the 1,000 month. We're probably going to do like mid-November through mid-December where we are focusing on communities, small businesses, shining that spotlight during that crazy time period through the holidays, taking care of you, shopping season, etc. So this is fun. If you think your business or someone you know owns a business wants to be a part of our 1,000 celebration, reach out to me at info@therealmonicaadams.com. By the way, I always want you to support those that support us. We have our regular sponsors. As you see below, we have our mobile Monicas, which means we take the show on the road to your location. Maybe we do it live. Maybe we do a recorded component of it. We want to thank all of our sponsors, and that includes the ones that just came on just about a month and a half ago. Kaufman Outdoors, really cool place. And I mentioned I'm going to give you a rundown of what's taking place the rest of the week tomorrow and a really incredible special that we are going to do. Can't wait to introduce you to Mark because we've introduced you to his wife, Jan. Mark Kaufman owns Kaufman Outdoors at 141 North Service Road West in Sullivan. Make that trip, by the way. I know we're getting out of summer, going into fall very soon, but there's still a lot of yard work that still needs to be done. So they've got some incredible mowers, the Bad Boy mowers, the X-Mark, the Spartan mowers that are waiting there for you. You're going to think about the transition and then starting to clear property with the tractors. They also have the UTVs. You want to go get an Arctic Cat. And then for those of you that really enjoy, maybe it's from a recreational standpoint, or maybe it's from a hunting standpoint, these e-bikes, they actually designed their own, which I love. Kaufman Outdoors has that, and then they have a really neat event that's coming up this weekend that we're going to talk about in the show tomorrow as well, that you can support. It is going to be on the 15th, and it is the Beta Ride Experience. It's absolutely free, by the way. You can ride all of these 8 models that they have. It is only about maybe 5 miles from where they're located. So reach out to Kaufman and say, hey, I want to bring the family to this. I think it sounds like a great place. Again, 141 North Service Road West. Mark, I cannot wait for us to feature you tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. And then if you're looking to go shopping this weekend and break away from that crazy heat we're talking about, I'd love you to stop in. Some of you have already, others that haven't. The Porch Wildwood, yeah, all of this beautiful stuff. I mean, we're talking about the aspect of interior design. We're talking about beautiful things for your space, but I'm also talking about things you can wear, things you can carry as an accessory, purses, jewelry, things for your home, like beautiful candles. All of that is waiting for you at the Porch Wildwood, which is located again on Manchester Road in Wildwood, Missouri. You can check them out at theporchwildwood.com. All right, folks. So, Claire, thank you again so much for being a part of the show. She felt that you all needed a little healing today. This is called Training with the Bible, day 36 of 100 Days of Healing, our daily devotional from Stephen Arterburn. This is from 2 Timothy 3, verses 16 and 17. All scripture is God-breathed and is useful for teaching, rebuking, correcting, and training in righteousness, so that the servant of God may be thoroughly equipped for every good work. So we have a tool for spiritual training that's more powerful than the strongest and fittest and fastest physical athlete. It's the Bible. Of course, just as athletes can find a multitude of reasons to avoid practice and exercise, we have plenty of ways to distract us from spending time in God's Word. Going to work, cleaning the house, firing up the grill to make dinner, going to a child's soccer game, watching a movie. That's just a few things I'm naming to keep you busy. However, there's simply no better resource or instruction manual for us than the good book. We read from it yesterday. We literally opened up and read a bit of scripture. Look over your daily schedule. Be creative about inserting time to read the Bible. For instance, you could listen to an audio Bible during your commute. You could download scripture-based sermons. Listen to them while you exercise. If you have a favorite verse or passage, work on committing it to memory. Little by little, you'll see real and lasting life change. God promises that, by the way, and you can take him at his word. Jesus, I praise you because you are the Word made flesh, yet I confess I make excuses not to train with you in your words of life. Show me how to make time to study Scripture every day. Amen. I like that, Claire, by the way. That was a good one because we talked about exercising. We talked about forming habits. Can we welcome on every single sponsor of ours that you've been hearing about for a while, but one of our brand new ones, R.A. Ginner. Jessica and her family, just beautiful souls, first of all. But this is something that suddenly, and hopefully it's not an emergency situation, but when you think, oh, I've been looking for a good plumber for my home, for our business, I want you to support R.A. Ginner. Folks, they have been around for 100. That's a business we need to get some, leadership from. 100 plus years, since 1925, making quality connections. They are located at 7244 Gravois Avenue, 314-752-9850. Keep that around. Maybe put it up on the refrigerator because when your family and friends need a plumber, you say, hey, Monica's got one, and we trust them. GinnerPlumbing.com. So we're talking faucet leaks, the disposal maybe not working, what to put in a disposal, what not to. Yes, you're taught that. Do you put things in there that's creating a problem? Maybe your water won't shut off to some of your fixtures. Maybe you have specialty fixtures that you want. And then also remodeling contractors. Remember, R.A. Ginner for the plumbing portion of the jobs. Maybe you've got an older home that needs remodeling where plumbing can be complicated and need creative thinking. R.A. Ginner, welcome aboard, by the way, to the Real Monica Adams Show. We are thrilled to have you as part of our team. Well, folks, thank you so much for tuning in. Again, tomorrow, a really cool feature on Kaufman Outdoors. You don't want to miss this one. Get the guys and girls together, the kids. They're going to really enjoy Kaufman Outdoors. And then on Friday, it is our Foodies Eat First Festival. So Braden, do you remember Braden, who was with us last year? This is an incredible event that's coming up in a couple of weeks. It's going to be held in the Post building, where the Post Dispatch. It's going to be inside the Post building, food and drinks and music and just something for everyone, and spotlighting these incredible small businesses. So we're going to feature Seminiti Sweets. So Jerry Stamson will be in, and then Chef Bailey from Bailey & Co. We're going to be cooking in our kitchen, having a great time, and that's on tap for you on Friday. So some really cool shows to watch while it's hot outside and you stay cool inside. Folks, thank you so much for tuning in. Again, remember, believe in yourself. Believe you can do anything you want to be in life, right? That greatest B, though, is kind. Be kind, and God bless.
The Real Monica Adams Show is brought to you by Kaufman Outdoors and The Porch in Wildwood.